Hey, what's up guys? So yesterday I posted a picture on my Instagram and I asked you guys to comment some trick tutorial ideas for my YouTube, and we ended up with these top 3. And so I'm gonna go over how to land these tricks for the first time, kind of give you guys my input, my tips, as well as my advice or my input on how to maintain consistency with these tricks as well. So just because we're all stuck at home doesn't mean that we don't have any opportunities to be riding our scooters still. I'm sure most of you guys have a front yard, have some weather that allows you to ride flat ground, so that's what all of these tricks are going to be done on today. Since we can't really go to any skate parks, bam, right there's my skate park. All right, let's get into it. The first trick is a truck driver. So for those of you guys who don't know, a truck driver is just a bar spin and a 360 put together. So of course, in order to learn this trick to start, you'll need to be able to do a bar spin and a 360 separately. And then right now we're gonna combine them. So my first little bit of input is to not overthink this. Because you already know how to do a bar spin and a 360, adding them together won't be as hard as you think. I think most of the time, a lot of people ask me how they can better perform a certain trick that they're doing. Fact of the matter is, it really just comes down to your mental strength. So you tell yourself, dude, I got this, then bro, you got this. So the way that I like to think of this trick is that when I jump off the ground, I'm just going and throwing my body as if I'm just gonna do a 360. But then halfway through, I push the bars away from my waist, so that way I can throw a little last minute bar spin in there. A common mistake that I see some people doing is that they jump off the ground as if they're gonna do a bar spin and then chuck the 360 afterwards. The way that I see it, this doesn't really make sense because you can't force your body to do like a late 360, but if you wanted, you could force your scooter to do a late bar spin. So that's why I say jump off the ground as if you're just gonna 360, and then after that, push the bars away from your waist, chuck the bar spin. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward on the truck driver. I hope that's helped you guys either maintain consistency or learn this trick for the first time. And of course, learning these tricks flat is gonna be a little bit more challenging if you're not like that familiar with riding scooters. Of course, if you're going out of a bank or out of a ramp, it'd be a lot easier to do a truck driver because you have like way more time. So that's why we gotta go to the gym, we gotta get swole so we can jump super high. So the next trick I want to get into is the finger whip. So this is a bit of a more advanced trick, and unlike the truck driver, you can't really like fudge on the rotation of it. See, with the truck driver, you can kind of get like a 270 and still kind of count it and get the bar spin like halfway around and then kind of fix it once you're on the floor. But with the finger whip, you can't really fudge on any of that stuff. It requires you to fully rotate the deck and get your feet back on it with your hands at the same time. So what's kind of helped me with this trick is to think of it in 3 motions. The first is the initial jump off of the ground. So unlike a lot of the tricks that I do, when I jump off the ground, for a finger whip, when I jump off the ground, my wheels are level. So it's just a traditional bunny hop instead of like a Jersey hop. And for the second thing that I like to think about is the hitting of the deck. So when I hit it, what I find to be super helpful is to try to hit the deck towards the back end of it, kind of like closer to the brake. This way it gives me a little bit more leverage and it causes the deck to rotate like way faster than if you like hit it towards the head tube. And now the third and final motion that I like to consider when I'm doing a finger whip is what am I doing with my hands? Obviously you have 2 hands. For me, I do finger whips with my right hand. So the first thing I have to think about is how quickly am I getting my right hand back onto my bar after I hit the deck. The quicker I get my hand back onto the bar, the faster the deck rotates and the easier the trick becomes. Simultaneously, I also have to think about what my left hand is doing. This is the hand that's actually still my bar. And what I find helpful is I try to keep my bars as straight as possible when I'm hitting the deck with my right hand. There you have it. That's it for the finger whip. Honestly, it's not as hard of a trick as you think. If you have basic double whips, double whips, triple whips, rewinds, bride flips, stuff like that already down, doing a finger whip flat is totally possible for you. Okay, so this last trick is actually a really advanced trick, and it's definitely not one of my personal favorites, but you guys like chose this in the comments, so I'm gonna do it. The trick is a whip front scoot. There's like 100 different ways you can do this trick, but I'm gonna just show you the way that I learned it and the way that works for me. So first things first, with this trick, I memorized the motion of it. I started out with a simple progression where I was just standing still on the ground. I put my left foot onto the ground and then flick the deck with my back foot until I then finished the rotation of the front scoot with my right hand. And once I started to get comfortable with the motion of the trick, I started to try it with a jump. Similar to the finger whip, I'm also doing this just like a straight traditional bunny hop to where my front wheel and my back wheel are level. I find this is easier because I can control where the deck lands after the front scooter's been finished. So the next thing I gotta think about is what am I doing with my feet? So just like the progression that I showed you guys, immediately my left foot goes off of the scooter as if I'm doing like a can-can, and then my right foot is flicking the deck to start the rotation of the tail whip. Simultaneously, I have to think about what I'm doing with my hands as well. Once the rotation of the deck starts, immediately I push the bars away from my stomach, or my waist I should say, and then I kind of flick the bars down. So this flicking or pushing the bars down regulates how fast the whip front scooter flip is actually gonna come back around your feet. So it's pretty important. So then finally, once you have already pushed the bars down away from you, you've already rotated the whip front scooter flip, it's now just about getting that left hand back on the bars as soon as you can and pulling it down so you can kind of like dictate where the deck is gonna land. Because you wanna make sure it's as straight as possible without looping out or falling too far forward. It's a pretty difficult trick, but nonetheless, it's quite rewarding once you get it. So there you have it. Those are the top 3 trick tutorials that you guys chose for me to do. If the advice that I gave you doesn't make sense to you, just forget about it. We all have different riding styles, so it really doesn't matter how you do these tricks. However, I thought I'd share some of my input and share my own experience with learning these tricks as well as staying consistent with them. If you guys like this video and you want to kind of hear my input on different flat trick ideas while we're stuck in quarantine, like the video. If this video gets like 2K likes, I really don't know what my like standard is anymore, but let's just say 2K likes, I'll make another one of these. All right, sweet, thanks for watching. See you guys. I hate shooting thumbnails. They're the worst in the world.